is Salif Ibrahim onto the crossbar. Finally cleared by Rashid Mohammed, but that was some effort from Salif Ibrahim. Michel Otu, and then finally cleared away by Mreku. Here is Asamoah Boateng in the free air. Tries to create space. Straight to attack, and the header from Osman Amadou goes straight to the hands of the goalkeeper.
Yeah, incredible save.
Just pushing, but in the end, they found no goal. Full-time score at the Accra Sports Stadium. Hearts 0, Legon Cities 0.
Oh yeah. The season has begun, and I think it's begun very well on a general scale, with a lot of teams putting out good performances. Accra Heartsville drew with Legon Cities, a result that not many will be happy about. Obviously, you want to get the first win, you want to get bouncing, but it's a long season and it's just begun, and we're just here to go through the analysis and try and help you understand what was going on the pitch. For those of you who couldn't make it to the Accra Sports Stadium, if you didn't make the Accra Sports Stadium, you may not have the tactical eyes to try and understand exactly what's doing, and that's what the Phobia Tactical is just set out to do, to help you understand the 90 minutes plus the 6 minutes we saw. We maybe ended up in 8 or 7 minutes, whatever, just to try and understand what the two coaches were doing, and especially how the Accra Heartsville team is going in there. Joining me is my very good friend Kofi Bolassie to do this. He will be with us anytime Accra Heartsville play. You know that you come and check us on the channel. We'll be going through how the team played and what was right and what was in wrong, or what we could have done better. And Kofi, how are you doing?
Well, I'm doing fine. How are you too?
Yeah, I'm great. You were one of the few privileged to be in the stadium to watch the game.
Exactly.
What was the feel like? What was the feel like? I mean, first game, knowing, Yandom had already won a game that way on Saturday.
I think that the general feeling I gathered from the stadium was that everybody was optimistic and everybody intended Legon City to be used as a scapegoat from that 6-1 defeat that Heartsville suffered last week. So everybody was poised, everybody was confident, and everybody expected that Accra Heartsville will use Legon Cities to send a message to the rest of the Premier League that, well, we're beaten by whack, but you guys are not really our standard. So there was a lot of disappointment on the faces of the Heartsville fans. All is not lost, of course. They've not lost confidence yet, but they wanted to send a statement from the few that I interacted with and the general body language of the fans and their expectations. That's what they wanted, but unfortunately, it couldn't happen.
Okay, not too much sentiment on this one. This tactical. So let's get into it right now. Let's get on the board and let's see what Coach Samuel Boadu was thinking about. Obviously, my little chats I had with the coaches, team managers, and co. They were okay. They were over it. It's normal. It happens. You can lose by 6-1, 6-0, whatever it is. It's had to go into the Ghana Premier League and get the job done. So the starting lineup was out. Robert Addo, Mohamed Al-Hassan, like we know. I wanted to talk about what happened to Mohamed Al-Hassan after the game, but let me just hold on with that. Let's continue with the analysis. We'll get back to that. Now, Fatah was a right back, obviously. Denchi got the chance there, a left back today, which indicates that Radi is perhaps not up to the level there. And then we saw, Then Salim Adams today was giving his chance to go out there and show everybody what he's got. There was Salif Ibrahim, there was Simano Nete, there was Isaac Mensah, there was Bani, and of course there's Kofi Koji. That's the lineup that the coach put out. Now, I guess you were impressed to have seen that he finally decided to trust Salim Adams there.
Well, yes. You you want to say that you asked for more, but I think that whilst we begin our tactical review, we have to start from the midfield. Once you've asked me about Salim, I have to start from there. I was happy that he was given a starting berth, but I wasn't happy with the role that he was given. It appears that Boadu does not see him as a holding midfielder. He sees him as probably a box-to-box midfielder. But for me, for my understanding of how he plays, I think it's a wrong apprehension of Salim's talent and what Salim can give you. Salim is very slow contextualized. He can't play with his back to the goal. He likes to receive the ball sideways and then do what he wants to do. But it appears in this midfield setup, we've mentioned the lineup already, so everybody knows that it was Salim, Emmanuel Neti, and then Salif Ibrahim.
Yeah.
that was what was on paper. But when they set up, Emmanuel Neti was the sitting midfielder or the holding midfielder as we wanted. So he was playing in front of the defense. And then Salim was at the left central interior midfield. And then Salif Ibrahim was on the right central interior midfield. What it meant was that in the phases, in the build-up phases, the first phase, of course, consists of the goalkeeper and then two central midfielders who come out wide, which is two central defenders who come out wide, which is Mohamed Al-Hassan and Robert Addo. They do that so well. They're able to keep the ball. They don't do a lot of hoofing off the ball, and so that's good for that build-up play that someone really wants. Now, the second phase usually consists of the two fullbacks, which in this case was Samuel Dinchi and Fatah Mohammed, the captain.
Yeah.
And then the two interior midfielders. So we have Salim and then Ibrahim Salifu, high up the pitch a bit. And then Emmanuel Netemi dropped a bit in between the two centre-backs, or just a little ahead of them. So the problem here is that in the second phase, with respect to the structure of the midfield, it's a bit high up the pitch, and there's a lot of pressure on the ball in that area. So if you put Salim there, with his back to the goal, because the central interior midfielders cannot be facing our goal, or they have to turn their back and face the play, so that when they pass the ball, they're able to receive well and see a lot of passes. Now, if you push Salim there, Salim is not a combative midfielder where you expect him to take those balls in tight spaces. Yes, he can work in tight spaces, but he works in tight spaces with his passing and not his body stature or strength or power, as you want other midfielders, or as other midfielders to do it. So with the way he employed or deployed the central midfielders, I think that was problematic with the roles given. I believe that Salim is a deep midfielder. He has to be involved in the first phase or second phase of play. What Boadu set up was like, from the first phase, which is the centre backs, and they get the ball to Emmanuel Neti or to the full backs, because it was difficult assessing Salif Ibrahim and difficult assessing Salim Adams. Salim Adams, because of his play, because of how he plays, because of how his stature is, and because of his intelligence and all that, it's difficult to, get him in those tight spaces, as I have mentioned already. Yeah. So, I think
just about what. Let me just ask a few questions there, because we know that. Yeah, and again, the Emmanuel Nete playing as the 6 itself was saying that Nete is, more or less suited to do that box to box thing.
Exactly.
So it was. If anybody, the options on the bench right now, I'm just trying to look at why he would go up, but because there's Ushau Abu, the man from Chelsea, who's supposed to be doing that. Maybe Caleb Mankwa is not as fit as we think he's going to be, so we can take Caleb Mankwa out of the situation. We'll talk about when Ansabotri came and what he came to do, actually. So, coach feels that it's too early to play Ushau Abu, start the whole thing, or he hasn't really warmed into his play. Is that the reason?
Well, I think that the reason for a lot of tweaking in midfield, in terms of the rules and personnel, is because Samuel Boadu is finding it very difficult to replace Afutu, Benjamin Afutu. Yeah. That's the difficulty that he's facing now. He doesn't know who exactly fits in that role. So he's tried Neti, he's tried Caleb, which obviously doesn't work. He's not been bold enough to try Salim in that role in an official game. I saw him in the preseason friendly against Kara, and he was fantastic with his ball distribution and how to control build-up and how to retain and recycle possession. He was very fantastic. But he's not been bold enough to try him in an official game. So I thought that playing against Legon City, probably, arguably a lower side in terms of quality, in terms of pressure and all that, I thought he would give him that role. But he gave it to Nete again, just like he did against, WAC of Morocco in Accra, where Nete played a bit well, but not too fantastic as you would want it, even though Hasselhoff won that game. So it's about defining the rules, trying to replace, Benjamin Afutu, because Ushao, very rugged player. You won't get a lot of decent passing from him, but he can do the dirty job for you. That's what Ushao is made of. And maybe Boadu is better this time he thinks that he has to give other players the time. But you see, the truth of the matter is that Boadu doesn't have time. House of Folk fans really do not have time for a lot of experimenting in there. I thought that at this time, you should have known that, or you should have known the player who replaces Afutu in a system, because he's kept on trying. Neti will explain why he cannot suit that role. He's better off being a box-to-box midfielder. Caleb Amankwa, traditionally not a midfielder, he's a defender. And if you want to play out from the back using Caleb as a DM or someone who splits or sits in between the centre backs, that will be erratic because of his passing and control as well. So he left him with Ushao, who is a very rugged player. Cannot offer you the kind of passing that Afutu did, or the kind of passing that Salim will give you. So that's generally my problem with the midfield structure.
Right. So when he introduced
the deployment of the rules. Yeah.
So when he introduced Ansah Botwe, was it a direct replacement for what Salim was doing, or was
I didn't even conclude on Salim. I think that because of the things that I have explained, Salim, anybody who watched realized that Salim was not existent in the game.
Yes.
Because he was always hiding, probably in the third phase, sometimes as high up in the last line of House of Folk's attack, which was Kofi Koji, Daniel Ifeanyi, Isaac Mensah.
Yeah.
So Salim in advanced areas, to conclude on that, Salim in advanced areas will not work. So Samuel Boadu has to figure it out. I understand from my sources that he doesn't see him as a holding midfielder, as I mentioned earlier. I think that Boadu will have to re-watch Salim and reassess his qualities, because it's clear from the first half, and he was the first player to be substituted. Immediately we came on in the second half, he took off Salim. Clearly ineffective. There was no excuse not to keep Salim high up the pitch. So if he wants to use him, he can either deploy a double pivot if he doesn't trust him so much, so he can do it with Neti, or he deploys him as a lone DM. Other than that, Salim in advanced areas will not work. So it was obvious, and he had to make that change. Ansah had to come on for Salim, because Ansah operates well in those advanced areas. He can take on players. He has some drive in him as well. So when he replaced Salim, we could see more of the midfielders when Ansah came on, instead of the first half where Salim usually was really hiding behind the second line, which was very difficult for Accra House of Folk to penetrate. And a few of the balls got to him, but was, again, in tight spaces where you cannot get the best of his qualities there. So Boadu may have to reassess the midfielders that he has and find a quick solution as to who plays which role in the midfield. Because if he's going to go with his three midfielders, then he has to define properly who fits where and who starts where and who starts, who doesn't start, and how do they play when they set up together. How do they play well as a trio when they set up together? So that's a conundrum for Boadu to deal with, and I'm sure, I believe in Boadu's qualities. I'm sure that if he gets some replay of this game, he will, or other games that they've played, he'll fine-tune something, and eventually, if he comes up with the best combination, that's the best trio that he can get from the midfielders that he has, I think that House of Folk will be a team to beat.
Let's look at the fullbacks. We are getting regular what we expect from Fatal. All right. But how much are we missing? How much are we missing? Bradio Voka on the left.
Bradio Voka was missed a lot. Denji is quite a different player. Likes to play it simple. He doesn't take a lot of risk at all. And that's what we're missing. Because if Voka is in the game, when he gets the ball in the second phase or even the third phase, as high up as the pitch as you want, he can take on players, he delivers better crosses into the box, and he can shoot himself. He's very enterprising. But Dinchi is very limited in whatever he's doing, even in defense, his passing, his crossing, and he always takes a simple option. So it was very difficult for him to defend. And I don't know if you've realized that Robert Addo seemed not to be playing well. He's not playing well.
They under a lot of pressure. The centre backs really, and more to Robert Addo. Again, you can see that in the WAC game. You check the WAC game again.
Thank you very much.
He was
So
under
it's
so much pressure, like he couldn't even know, he didn't know how to pass or whatever.
that's a ripple effect of Tenchi's game on Robert Addo. Because if you look at the centre back pair, usually Robert Addo is very, very comfortable.
Yeah.
Usually amongst the two, he's very, very, very comfortable with the ball or with whatever that he does. But since Tenchi started, it's been very difficult for him because he always has to cover for Tenchi.
Yeah.
And he's been exposed. So in the last 2 games, if you want, as we're talking about the defense, if you want a player who has been under criticism, fairly, that will be Robert Addo. And the reason is purely because of Tenchi. Defensively, not as sound as Radio Boca is. Even offensively, he can't offer the same thing. He's not enterprising enough. He doesn't take a lot of risk. He can't take on players. It's not in him, so you can't blame him too much. But Radio Boca's quality is way, way higher. Because Radio Boca, for example, is the best left back in the Premier League. There's no other left back in the Ghanaian Premier League who plays better than Radio Boca. So definitely, if you are missing him, you are missing a lot. And if there's one player in that back line who would want Uvoka to return immediately, that would be Robert Addo.
Yeah. And so it's clear that the Afutu is crucial, and then the Radio Book is crucial as well.
It's crucial. I wanted to find out after the game why he didn't start, because he appeared to be warming up and all that, ready to come on. So maybe Boadu has to explain.
Yeah.
Why he took that risk.
If the list information have about the injuries is recurring and all, so they probably want to time it a bit and make sure that he's fit and good enough to come. Yeah.
If that's so, then it's a good risk. But if not, then Boadu may have had that wrong, because
got a few. Yeah.
Come again?
No, I'm saying yeah, because Roberts has been in all sorts of trouble these days.
Yeah, all sorts of trouble, and also in attack. In attack, we are missing a lot of the things that will work up.
Now let's look at but you look at what we have in attack, because nothing really changed for the defensive side. Nothing was going to change. I know that Mohamed Al Hassan had a very serious knock. That's shoulder into his head was crazy.
Yeah.
Then he went down. I think after the game, I was hearing that he wasn't too well, but thankfully he's stable. So when you look up front, now you tell me what was going on there. We got Isaac Mensah, Kofi Koji, we got Banye. Let's start with. Let me just start with but Banye. What is happening with Banye? Because of course, we've not really seen him. Maybe in the last 4 games, Banye is not the Banye.
Yeah, I think that we have to refresh our memory. Banye's problem has been with decision making, and it's been terrible throughout the whole of last season. Save those about 10 games that he came really up in form. But it appears that he's going back to the indecision period or indecision part of his career. Some look good at all in the first 3 games in the CAF Champions League, and it's not different, or was not different today as well. For the attack, I have no problem with the structure. I have no problem with the personnel as well. The only problem is the individual brilliance of the players. Kofi Koji was excellent today with the soda play, created a lot of chances for others, even though he missed some himself, but he was fairly okay. He gave what he was supposed to give per his stature and his role in that front three. If we hear Banye, I think he's losing a lot of steam, or has lost it already if he hasn't, because I can't really pinpoint what is wrong with him. It looks like he's lost form. He's not doing anything that he did best or better in the last 10 games. He's not repeating that kind of form. So it's difficult to pinpoint what exactly is wrong with him. His runs, hold-up play, decision-making especially. If you remember the last game against Legon Cities last season, he, damaged the player and set it up for Kojo Obin Jr. to finish. Had a similar, phase of play today. Damaged the player, got inside of him. He was opposed to pass to Isaac Mensah to finish. It was really a simple tapping for him. And if he would have missed, that would have been a very, very big miss. But he decided not to follow his, what he had done earlier in the year against Legon City. He decided to go for power. He decided to shoot from a very acute angle. So for Banye, it's about decision making, and he has to improve. He has to improve.
Is the team missing in any way, Coach Obeng? Is the team missing? Because I feel like Kofi Koji is providing something, putting something really on the table. Would you say the team is missing Coach Obeng Jr.?
Well, I think I would say so. I would say so in terms of probably maybe finishing the chances. Kojo Obeng Jr. himself is wasteful, yes, but not as wasteful as the front three. And maybe I'll be exaggerating, but Kofi Koji provides exactly what Obeng Jr. provides. I mean, the strength, how he bullies a lot of the players and all that. What Kofi Koji has not done yet is the finishing. Save the free kick that against Kamsa, he's played against WAC twice, and now against Legon City, and he's not found the net. So we are missing him, not stylistically, but in terms of his finishing, that's what we are missing from Kojo Obeng Jr. The loss of form of Efriye Banya is a problem, because Efriye Banya was causing a lot of havoc for the defenders, making a lot of runs, hustling them, holding up play and all that. He's not done that to that level of efficiency that we want. So he has to pick up his form, because it's a front three and they have to work as a machine. They have to work together. They have to work as an attack. So if one player is performing at very low efficiency levels, that will really affect the front three. For Isaac Mensah, you don't really see him so much. I've spoken about his body language, and I might sound repetitive on this space, but he doesn't appear to be imposing himself on the game. However, he's always at the right place at the right time. He was denied a very good header today by Oforientry. I think Oforientry set up today to revenge something. I don't know what it is, because I remember that a lot of some of the fans wanted him to come to Accra, but that didn't materialize, unfortunately. But he came out today and showed why he's a classic goalkeeper in the Ghanaian Premier League. And that save from Isaac Mensah's header. Wow. I mean, you just love it. So he was also part of the unlucky players, the Isaac Mensah. But as a front three, I don't see much problem tactically or stylistically. The problem really is about individual form, which is Banye. Maybe the coach will have to sit him out for a game or two, so that he feels that, well, I have to push again. It appears that from the last 10 games that we had last season in that champions, the Ghana Premier League winning season, it appears he feels that he's untouchable. And indeed, he has been untouchable in the team for the past 3 Champions League games. Maybe, just maybe, we will have to sit him out in one of the games, in the upcoming game, so that he's able to re-energize himself, psychologically, physically, and then come back to his form that we knew him of. If he's going to go back to default, that will be a problem. That will be a big problem for Asofo and a big problem for himself. And if he's going to continue like that, then he's going to go back to the bench, because his problem really was indecision. He improved it in the latter part of the season. That was just about a few months ago. And it appears he's lost it again. I don't know. Maybe. Well, yeah, but
the bad news for attacking players who are losing it is that they've got quite a number of young men who can come in to make a difference.
Yeah, I was happy to see
the Sadiq Surajes. You have to see Asubontin come on. You have to see. I saw Ben York was getting ready to come on as well. Was it Ben York? Did he eventually come on?
No, he couldn't make his debut.
Yeah, couldn't make his debut. But they just to say that there are those youngsters there. There are those youngsters there who want the opportunity, and given the pace and the trickery, they've got players who can replace money, and that's what he needs to be careful about.
He has to be really, really careful. He has to psych himself up. Then maybe the coach will have to do that for him, but he himself has to motivate himself. That, I mean, yes, House of Folk had not won the league for the last 9 years or so, but it doesn't mean that when you win it, you cannot go on to be, champions, or you cannot retain the title. You have to keep up. He's not there yet. He has to be told that he's not there yet. There's a lot of improvement that he has to, effect to his game. And I don't think that, I don't want to believe that because House of Folk won the double last season.
Yeah, you don't even have the chance. I've watched the boys on training. There's nothing like that. Like, give you a leg with 7 hands. Everybody's got to really work hard. So if you're not working hard,
everybody has to work hard. Yeah. And they have to, totally forget about for example, the humiliation in Morocco, they have to also forget about all the celebrations and all the praises that we showered on them for winning the double. This is a new season. He has to, reproduce what he did. And not just reproduce, he has to do better. Because Barnier could not score 10 goals last season. He did very well, but as a forward, if you're not giving me 10 goals in the Premier League, you are not really up there. Yes, we got the praises here and there, went to the under-20, won the African Championship, won the West African Championship as well, did well in the latter part of the season for Accra.
But the truth is, there's work to be done.
What are your numbers?
Yeah,
I mean, the numbers game are not good for you. So somebody has to tell him that it's not done yet. You are not there.
Barnier knows. He says, in an interview with me, he says that he wants to do better than what he did last season. And hopefully
that's good. That's good. We have to see it on the pitch.
Yes.
We have to see it on the pitch. But so far, it's not been encouraging at all. So far, it's not been encouraging at all.
But Richard Atta, all the praises. I mean, clearly, Richard Atta is doing his very best in the post. He's really come out these days. He's been left on his own a number of times, and he's been able to save.
Somebody said at the stadium that just after his Black Stars call-up, he's become a fantastic goalkeeper. But I just told him that, well, he was good, but it appears Hartlepool fans did not really see that. But, I mean, he's showing it now. Great saves in Morocco, great saves today as well.
Yeah.
Excellent. But talking about Richard Atta saves, okay, it leads me to something else that I have to address about Samuel Boydu's team. That's the highlight. He was doing it against WAC of Morocco, and that WAC of Morocco players are smarter, of course. They'll make better runs, of course, and they'll not get caught in that offside trap. For Legon Cities, I think that again, okay, well, I must not sound like I want to, downgrade the Ghana Premier League, but a lot of the things that Hasselhoff did against WAC was done against Legon Cities now. But as to how Legon Cities failed to take advantage of it, especially the highlight, they got a ball or two behind the players, and Richard Atta had to save us. Other than that, Hasselhoff would not have smiled today. But we do have to work on that highlight. If you're pushing the high line, then you have to get your pressing well, very, very well. And you see, let's talk about the concept of pressing. It's not an easy thing to do because it requires that all 10 outfield players will be focused to execute a certain plan. And it has to be very systematic, one after the other, and it follows a sequence. So if you are pressing and some players are asleep, some players are not focusing on how to press, then you'll be exposed. The only way to, prevent balls in behind you when you set up high is to press high up the pitch to get the ball. But if you are pressing or if you push your line very high and you are not pressing, it's dangerous. It's too dangerous to play that way. Very, very dangerous to play. No team actually plays like that in the world. If you are pushing high up, I remember that Bayern Munich team that won the Champions League. They were pressing very high. Their line were very high. But it was difficult to get balls in behind because you'll be so much pressed. And they had pace. Yeah. The back line had a lot of pace as well. If you look at Manchester City, if you look at Liverpool, teams who press a lot and their lines are sometimes very high. But if you look at the pressing is not too coordinated. I like the idea of the press, especially with the front three, but it's not perfected yet. All these flaws that I'm mentioning will need time to be perfected. Mind you, okay, Samuel Boydu took over just at the second round of the season. So he's not even had a full season with the team. So it will be very difficult to see him be, at the optimal level. He needs time to get there. But we are just pointing out these flaws so that he may be able to correct them as we meet better teams ahead.
Yeah, it's important that you talk about better teams. Yes. So you're happy said that, yeah. Having said that, yeah.
Yeah. Having said that, I have to also say that there are a lot of positive things that Samuel Boydu did. But if you want to ask me the question before I get to
no, I want to go to positive things, and I was just quickly boxing it up to say that the better teams you're talking about, the next game is not an easy game. It's Hearts playing against Wafa in the way.
Thank you. Yes.
And Wafa they've had a tweak in their management system. Yeah, they have a tweak in the management system. They have a new coach who
exactly.
Clearly from what he's doing knows what he's about. And they had a draw away in Kumasi. There is a 2K Faisal, which is a good result as well for them. So what are you expecting the coach to do? Given, and I'm going to give you the thing, given that you don't have Caleb Amankwa, given that you don't have Radio Buka still back, the game against Wafa.
Well, I'm hoping that Ovuka will be ready for the game. I'm just hoping.
Yeah,
he has to be. Yeah. He was almost ready today, but he didn't appear to have any problem. But somebody decided not to use him. So I'm hoping that he comes back. Wafa may take advantage of that high line that I'm talking about.
They will take advantage of that.
They will take advantage of that because
be what
they play in a very systematic way. And Wafa are very unforgiving. Yeah. If you appear anything like what you did against WAC or even Legon Cities, they can punish you just like WAC did. And they've done it to Accra before. They beat them by 5 goals and nothing. And no matter the players that have left, no matter the changes in the technical team, Wafa is still Wafa. They don't just lose at home. So somebody will have to, cure some of these problems going forward. Having said that, I have to come back to the positives. The way that the team was creating a lot of chances, it was very, very impressive. I was impressed with the chance creation of the team. The team was just unlucky today. Very, very, very unlucky today. There are a lot of chances created by especially Kofi Koji. He was able to hold up a lot of the balls. Even second balls, we were very good with picking them up right in front of Kofi Koji. And the width that was provided by Fatah Mohammed and William Dinchi was also very, very good, except that some of the balls were a bit late when they had to go in and all that. So it was a very good encounter. Today, House of Folk played with a lot of dominance in today's game. Even with all the problems that I have stated, there was a lot of dominance in the game. Today, they have to be even by 3 goals up in the first 15 or 20 minutes or so. That would have killed the game. And this was a game, as you mentioned earlier, if you score, you'd have even scored 4 or 5 because Legon Cities were not really up there. It was just House of Folk versus Ofori in the first half, House of Folk versus Ofori in the second half or so. So I was impressed with how the team was able to create chances, even out of nothing. Even at the point when we were just hooping up the ball, we were able to create a lot of chances. Salifu, for example, was very unlucky with that killer that hit the crossbar. Very, very unlucky. It was a very brilliant, set piece that was taken by him. There are a couple of headers from the corner kicks which couldn't make it. Kofi Koji set up Salifu Ibrahim, and he had to chip. He had to chip the goalkeeper, but it was an on off the line clearance from Legon City. So all in all, even though I have spoken about a lot of the tactical problems, the team created a lot of chances. They should have finished them, but they didn't. So it's a problem when your team is not creative, but this is a team that created a lot, and we're just very unlucky on the day. Very, very unlucky.
Just to wrap it up, what would be your starting lineup for Wafa?
Well,
your starting lineup for Wafa.
I think that I'll maintain the starting lineup, except that I will bring in Salim as a holding midfielder and then a push native forward. So that will be my only change. It will be more of a tactical or a rule change rather than personnel. So I'll also maintain it. Well, wait, I forgot about Obuka.
Yeah, Obuka. Yeah,
so I have Obuka.
If you have Obuka,
for the
obviously, yeah,
that's all. I have Obuka for the so that's all. I nearly forgot about it. Because we've spoken about So yes, I'll have Obuka for the and I'll keep the same starting lineup.
Well, we have to say a big thank you, really. It's opening day. I understand the kind of pressure for the boys. They also look hurried a bit. You could see that they wanted it quickly, but sometimes.
Like I said, they wanted to do something to sort of revenge that 6-1. That 6-1 defeat, and it didn't happen for them. Let me also state that this is a league, which is a marathon and not a race. There's a long way ahead of us. The dynamics, a lot of them will come in, a lot of them will change. you may be on top at this time, you may go down at this time. We must learn from last season.
Yeah.
Until Samuel Boadu came, even after a few games, after Samuel Boadu came, we were never close to winning the Premier League.
So, yeah.
Not even talk about the FA Cup. But within a short space, Arsenal turned things around and they were challenging for the trophies and they won it. So the first two fixtures, poses some threats. I hope that Arsenal fans will be very, very, very patient. A draw at Wafa is the best result that any club can get. Yes, any club can get there. I mean, yes, they've lost there, but how many times have they lost there since they came? So, yes, Arsenal should have won today's game, but that's fine. They have to put it behind them. This is Wafa, where if you pick up a draw, it's very okay, very, very. In fact, if it was a market scheme, we say excellent. If you pick up a draw at Wafa, so Hasbrook will have to contextualize the two results because it's likely that they may not get a win in both games. Or after match day 2, Hasbrook, you look at the table and you see no W there, or no clean check sign there. That's no problem. It has to be contextualized, especially the Wafa game. So yes, I'm not expecting a defeat there, but if a defeat comes, it's no problem because it's a Soccer Cup arena as well. And so Hartlepool fans will have to be very, very, very patient with Samuel Boadu. I am calling for patience because I know a lot of the fans.
You know how the fans can go. Yeah, they are not over with the 6-1.
They're not patient.
And they can't get the wins. And after 4 games,
you know what will drive their impatience? It's the fact that maybe Kotoko will be winning.
Yeah, because Kotoko are going to win it. I think they win the Beijing game though. They win that game hands down.
Yes, it looks like they win. So if they get 6 points and Hasbrook have not won a game in the 2 games, it will cause some pressure. But I expect Hasbrook fans, as I always say, to be very reasonable and patient because it's a very, very long race.
As you made it, thank you very much, Kofi. It's always great coming your way. I mean, and talking about the things that we've got to, so at least you guys have an idea of what's going on.
Exactly, and I'm happy that you give us such a platform to move away from the emotions, the sentiments.
Really talk about what's on there. Right?
What happens on the field.
Yes, it's very, very important. So we'll do that. We have time. I mean, for the emotions when we go onto the fan TV, we go there. We can have a chat on how you were feeling and what you thought on this. But here we are strictly looking at what's on paper. And I think even to a large extent, for some of the players who get to watch this, or the technical team who get to watch this, they are able to, I think they know all of these things. Hamza was very smart in the press conference, talking the tactics, and we see the guys all talking the tactics, and I think it's going to be a very competitive season. So guys, get ready.
Very, very, very. Because I was also impressed with the post-match of Dr. Ogun.
Yes.
Very tactical post-match. So I think we'll have to match that then. And this season there'll be a lot of talks about tactics. So if you're a coach, you have to up it so that you're able to overcome the other person. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Kofi. We're definitely back to have a quick preview of the Wafa game. We'll do that on the eve before the game and just have a look at how it goes in terms of what the team has got. Hopefully, I'll make it to the training grounds this coming week. To see some things for myself, to see how the guys are doing, and we'll obviously bring a report to all of you guys. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much, all of you, for watching us. That's a Phobia Tactical. We know how the team went. We just can pray and hope that the team does better as they go through it. That's it for our show. Take care.
Here is Koji. Good save from Okorienchi. He fails to connect the rebound, but he was in an offside position according to that. Netes header again now, Barnier. Salifu Ibrahim for Isaac Mensah. Again, Okorienchi, and good defending from the captain, Francis Addo. Koji to Barnier. Back to Kofi Koji. He's up against Rashid Mohammed. He's a big striker against the gangling centre back, and he sends a cross in. Isaac Mensah can't connect with his head. And Okorienchi, did he handle the ball outside the box?
No, I don't think so. I don't think the full sacrifice of the ball because the Lama, of course, will.
And Nete has gifted possession to Atukwe, and he brings him down. Certainly a yellow card for Nete. Yes, this is out of frustration. Is Salif Ibrahim! onto the crossbar. Finally cleared by Rashid Mohammed, but that was some effort from Salifu Ibrahim. Michel Otu, and then finally cleared away by Mreku. Here is Asamoah Boateng in the free air. Tries to create space. Straight to attack, and the header from Osman Amadou goes straight to the hands of a goalkeeper.
Yeah, incredible save.
Just pushing and pushing, but in the end, they found no goal. Full-time score at the Accra Sports Stadium. Hearts 0, Legon Cities 0.